Hey, it's Sunday, you know the drill. It's time for another episode of Record Collecting with The Quill. The theme for this week was easy. The music world lost one of the most influential drummers of all time when Charlie Watts passed this week. May he rest in peace. So this episode will be a tribute to Charlie and his legacy, and I've decided to choose some of my favorite Rolling Stones tracks and some of my favorite drumming from Charlie. And I'd be happy to hear your opinion. What are your favorite tracks, Charlie tracks? Write in the comment section, and also make sure you subscribe and follow this YouTube channel for more episodes. Well, Rolling Stones, they go a long way back, and they've been in my sort of universe since I was really, really young. My father was a big Rolling Stones fan growing up, and somehow I've picked up on that as well. And I remember going to my grandparents when I was really young, and they still had my father's old children's room intact, and they had a lot of Rolling Stones posters and stuff, so they've been on my radar for a long time. And then a little bit later, I mean, my father played a lot of Rolling Stones, so I heard a lot of it growing up, mainly the singles from the 60s. And then I grew up and got a little bit older and started listening to music as well, and I got more into the heavier stuff as a kid in the early 80s. And my father and I had this thing actually where he would take me to concerts. I live in quite a remote part of Sweden, so you don't get any big bands coming here to play shows. So in order to go see all my favorite bands, you had to make a long journey, either to Stockholm, Gothenburg, or Malmö, and it's like 350 kilometers each. So we made this pact that he would drive me to shows I wanted to see, and in return I would accompany him going to see shows he wanted to see. So it was really a win-win situation. I got to see a lot of great bands that I don't think I would have seen if it would have been my choice. So in 1988, he drove me to see Kiss. A great show. It was my first really big show. And a couple of years later, he came and said, like, Rolling Stones is coming to Gothenburg, and I would really like to go see them. So are you coming with me? And yeah, cool. I mean, I like Rolling Stones a little bit, the little I've heard. And also my cousin and his father came with us. So it was sort of a pilgrimage going to see the Rolling Stones, two fathers and their sons. And after that, I was struck. It was a great show. It was the last tour with Bill Wyman on bass. It was they just released the Steel Wheels album, and the tour was called Urban Jungle. And actually, I had to dig it out. I remember I actually took a poster when we were in Gothenburg and ripped it down from somewhere. I had to dig it out for this episode. It's really, it's a cool memory. I don't know, it may be a collectible. You tell me if there's any Stones fans out there. I really enjoy it. And I remember the word was in 1990 that it might be the last time they're coming, actually. So you might as well go see them now, because they've been at the 90s. They've been around for 30 years. And I would never imagine my father and I going to see them again 24 years later. In 2014, we saw them in Stockholm, and they were still great. So it's a lot of cool memories growing up seeing Rolling Stones. But anyway, I'm rambling. It was a little bit of my background. So some of my favorite tracks. Well, for some reason, I ended up with it was mainly tracks from the 60s and 70s. He's done some great stuff later on, but this is the one I chose today. If you ask me tomorrow, it might be a different choice. But I'm starting out with a couple of tracks from this one. It was a compilation album I bought, I think after the show, actually. Has all the great tracks from the 60s, the singles. And I've chosen two tracks. The first one being Get Off My Cloud. It's a great beat from Charlie. He plays basically the same beat the whole song through, but it really makes the song, and it's a really great drum track. You could, if you would isolate the drums, so you could only hear the drums, you would still know what track it is, because it's such a distinct groove he's playing. So that's my first pick, Get Off My Cloud. The second one is also from this one, and that's Painted Black. Is quite I re-listened to it, and it's such a driving drum beat from him, quite different actually. And if you I mean, Charlie's coming from a jazz background, but listening to that track, you could never imagining him coming from a jazz background, because it's such a driving. It's a really slamming sound as well. It's almost like proto punk or something. It makes it really great, stand out. Such a driving force the whole song through. And it's actually no wonder that Ian Pace used Painted Black as sort of a vehicle for his drum solo in the early days of Deep Purple. You can see it. So great drumming from Charlie there as well. Painted Black, my second pick. The next one I have for the reason that I got into Rolling Stones in the 90s. I got a lot of this stuff on CD. This is a later actually reissue, but my third pick is from the Aftermath album. This is the UK version, and it's the track Under My Thumb. It's a beautiful track, and when you listen to his drumming, it's really nice as well. You have a really nice groove in the verses with a really nice ghost note, a lot of ghost notes going on, and you can hear his background from jazz, absolutely. Really cool, as I said, ghost notes going on. Then he changes to a 4/4 beat in the choruses, making the track sort of transcend into something different, but then switches back to the ghost note thing in the verses again. So great track. I always enjoy that one, Under My Thumb. Next one is from this album. There is Satanic Majesty's Request. This is their sort of ill-fated try to make their own version of Sgt. Pepper, and this album might not be Rolling Stones doing what they do best. On the contrary, they're trying to be something they're not. But there's some cool tracks on this one, and I've chosen, this is a later reissue. It came out with a really cool sort of 3D photo, but this is a later issue. I've chosen a track from this one anyway. It's the track She's a Rainbow. It's sort of a hippie-trippy song when you just listen to like the chords and the arrangement and the vocals, but what makes this song into something different is Charlie's drumming. If it's really distinct, it's really high in the mix as well, and that's sort of takes it to another place. If it wouldn't been for his drumming, it would, as I said, something straight out of San Francisco in 1967 or 68. But his take on this takes it to another dimension, makes it a lot cooler. So it's actually a great track. And there's some other tracks I really enjoy from this album. I really enjoy 2000 Man as well, the Kiss later cover, but that's another story. So, She's a Rainbow. That's my fourth pick, I believe. Next one is a CD that still has the price tag on it. I think I bought it in Copenhagen or something years ago. My last pick is the song Salt of the Earth from Beggar's Banquet. Great album. And this one, Charlie's not usually one who takes up a lot of room in a song, but this one he does, and he changes the pace of the song a couple of times through his drumming. At first it starts out as a really slow, almost like a country ballad, but then when the drums kick in, it takes it to another place altogether. And also what I really love about it is in the end when he changes the tempo again, and the song turns into a gospel song, really, just by him changing the way the beat of the song. So kudos for that one, Charlie. It's as I said, they were in a fantastic form here for a couple of years, making brilliant albums every year. Which leads us to this one, Sticky Fingers, and the track I chose from this one is the first one, Brown Sugar, which I always enjoy. It's one of my favorite Rolling Stone songs, and Charlie's drumming on this one is really cool as well. He plays a really cool floor tom backbeat in the verses, and then he switches to hi-hat in the choruses, and the song takes a different route, and it opens up a lot in the choruses just by him once again changing the way he orchestrating the beat, and the floor tom groove. It's excellent in this one. I really enjoy it. I wish I had. It's not with the original zipper. It's a later issue as well. As I said, I bought a lot of my Stones album in the early 90s. And my last pick is from this one. I don't have it on vinyl yet, but we'll have to buy it someday. This is when you talk about Rolling Stones' best album. This is one. It's always top 3 usually. I think I prefer Sticky Fingers, but this is still a great one, Exile on Main Street. And I chose the track Loving Cup from this one. As I said, a lot of great tracks, but what really makes that track is, once again, Charlie's drumming, almost a shuffle beat going, and it almost has sort of like a train feel to it. Just struggling along, makes it really cool. And then in the choruses, he makes these really distinct fills that also takes the song to a different place. But there's some other fantastic songs on this one. But today I decided to choose Loving Cup from Exile on Main Street. That was my, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 favorite Charlie Watts tracks, drumming tracks. So I want to hear your opinion. What are your favorite ones from him? It's really sad. We're losing them in quite a fast pace now, all those great musicians, and we'll see what will happen to Rolling Stones. They were talking about going on tour. I mean, Charlie announced earlier before he died that he wouldn't be able to do the US leg now of the tour, so Steve Jordan would step in. We'll see what will happen. Rolling Stones is a big industry. There's a lot of people depending on them, so I wouldn't be surprised if they will continue. But it's up to them. It's their choice. But anyway, they decide to choose. Charlie's legacy will still be quite prominent. He made a huge mark on the music industry, and also just by being a somewhat seemed like, at least I'd never met him, but he seemed like a cool guy. He seemed like in the eye of the storm, he seemed to be the calm one, calm and collected. So cheers and thank you, Charlie, for all your great work and all your great music. You know the drill. By the end of each episode, you can follow us, The Quill, on social media. It's The Quill Sweden. And also, as I said, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, I will put all these tracks I've spoke about here on the Spotify playlist. You find the link down below in the comment section, so you can check them out if you haven't heard them. Well, that's it for now. I hope we don't have to make any more of these tributes now. We made one to Dusty Hill a couple of weeks ago, but I hope we don't get any more any big losses in the music industry for a while now, because we need those old heroes, don't we? Well, that's it for now. This turned into a long episode. We're almost by the 15-minute mark, so it's a new record, but that's a fitting analogy with the Rolling Stones. They've been going for 50 years. So, well, now I'm rambling again. That's it. Cheers for now. Bye.